Alright, before we cut back, this is future tier talking real quick before we start the intro. I just want you guys to know, at first I said this was going to be an Antiquity video, but this ended up turning into an overall Mirage exclusive Reagent video talking about more than one thing. So keep that in mind when you're going into the intro and everything, that this does change in the middle of the video somewhere. So yeah, don't hurt me, y'all. I'm sorry. Sound the horn, ladies and gentlemen. It is another day of Ragnarok. We are here in Mirage today. And you're thinking, Tier, what is in Mirage that's so notable? Well, there is this set of reagents that, honestly, we only really have to talk about one aspect of them because of the fact that each different versions of this all work as the same piece. And we are talking about the Antiquities. Yes, there are multiple different ones, but they all count as the same one for some reason. They decided, hey, let's make like 3 or 4 different variants of it, but they all count towards one, like combined total, instead of like 3 or 4 separate ones, which is a very interesting approach. And the Antiquities, you'll find them all over Mirage. You see this shiny thing right here, for example? That is an Antiquity. As you just saw there, I just got antique chests. Now, that can actually be something different. It could be an antique something else when you pick it up. There's another shiny right there. I'm going to pick it up right now. Yep. You see there, I just got an antique egg. And the Antiquities, you'll see like different variants, but they all count towards the same total. Also, Sunstone is pretty notable here for Sandstone. I know I recommend the Conda Desert for Sandstone, but hey, this is a great alternative if you are an Arc 3. If you get tired of Chrysalis, just come to Mirage. Just come to Caravan. But yeah, so when it comes down to it, you could honestly get your Sandstone here, but we're not talking about Sandstone today. We're talking about Antiquities. Now, when it comes to these are the Mirage exclusive reagent. Because most of the Arc 3 worlds, and really some worlds in the game, do have world exclusives. Mirage is one of them, and the Antiquities are that for Mirage. You cannot get these Antiquities in any other world in the game. At all. You can get them in the different streets of Mirage, but you can't go to Imperia and get them. You can't go to friggin' Polaris and get them. But when it comes down to these, it's basically just check the world. But usually I just stick to Caravan because the route here is relatively small. It's easy to navigate, stuff like that. But I'll go and show you like one other street. I believe it's the Ruble Waste I've seen people use before. Okay, it is. So, it's been a while. Don't mind me. But you can get Antiquities in any part of Mirage. But again, it is exclusive. Also, if you need Fulgurite, you can also pick that up here too. But we're talking about Antiquities here. But as you can see, I just keep picking on a bunch of shit. I keep on picking a bunch of it up. And again, Mirage is a great alternative to Sandstone. Because Sandstone, you need to find, guess what? In sand. And guess what Mirage has a ton of? Sand. So if you do get tired of the Conda Desert route, which is like one street, you go back and forth a bit certain route. If you ever get tired of it, just search the world of Mirage. That is an alternative to Sandstone. The thing with the Ruble Waste, though, is it is kind of a large area somewhat. So it is a bit of a walk from one side to the other. But with that large walk, there is high potential to find things like Fulgurite and stuff like that. So there you go. Now you pretty much know how to get your Antiquities. And to an extent, the Fulgurite too. I'll have to do some research to make sure that the Fulgurite is exclusive to Mirage as well. If so, I'll probably title this something like something involving the exclusive reagents for Mirage or whatever. But you get the point. But yeah, right now it's double reagent, by the way, as I'm recording this. So by the time this video goes up, unfortunately, double reagent will be expired by the time this video drops, unfortunately. Well, I'm getting kind of lucky right now. But yeah, you could get them in any street, but those are the two streets that I use because the routes are easy, straightforward. You're not really having to walk around the edges very much. You can just kind of free walk anywhere you want. And you can get a bunch of them. Like, let me go into my reagent bag here real quick. So you see how there's antique coins, antique chests, antique chalices. I also got antique eggs and teapots. All of these antique items, they all count towards one total, which is kind of nuts. Because if I go to, let's say, any of these certain wands here, for example, the legendary wand from Imperia, you see it takes 25 antiquity. Literally, that uses, like, the combined total. So if I had, like, 6 of each, I could still craft. But yeah, so when it comes down to it, that is actually the use, in terms of gear, that is the use of antiquity, that is a different reagent piece that you need for your legendary energy wand. Not your good revered one, but your part 1 of the Imperia questline when it comes to the crafting, because it's a two-parter. Part 1 is the legendary, part 2 is the focused, the revered. And you need antiquity for your part 1 of the Imperia crafting quest. Because you need that, you need your 7-pip AoE treasure card, Stardust, Astral Shard, or Perfect Gem, Vine, Golden Pearl, stuff like that. However, there is another use, but you guys are probably tired of seeing me go to Wisteria all the time, because the other use of this recipe is for cantrips. Because you can actually use it to craft Healing 4 from the cantrip cauldron thing. And is that useful? Kinda. It's actually pretty decent. Now, it's a very strong heal. I don't have any treasure cards of it, but I could show you that I have healing in mana 2, and you can see healing mana 2 gives a decent amount of both. And usually when it has both, it usually gives less of each because it's doing both. Imagine healing 4 without mana. It would be huge. A lot of health. So it could be pretty good. However, there is another item that you could craft, but they're mostly housing stuff. If you're a house decorator, you could also craft the statue of the Arcanum teachers. Yes, you can actually do that. Like Baba Yaga, like Ignis Ferric, like Kismashasha, or whatever, or Xander. Yeah, all of the Arcana Professor statue housing furniture pieces, you can craft those, and you do need antiquity for it. And they're probably not too difficult to craft. You just go and find a reagent called an A. But I do recommend using your antiquity on the legendary wand to progress that part of the last crafting quest in the game, which is the Imperial one. Now, this video did not turn out very long. I'm looking at my number right now. I'm looking at 8.5 minutes right now. But that is partially because I didn't go to the areas themselves. But that's because I've done that a few times now, and I'm sure you guys are tired of me doing that over and over again. So I just figure I'll just pull up some of the recipes in my book. But yeah, so just remember for antiquities, what you'd want to do is just come to Mirage, go to Caravan or Ruba Waste, whichever one you prefer, or both, and just walk around and collect the hell out of it. You can get your 25 required antiquity in about maybe 10-15 minutes when it's not double reagent. Less if it is. It just kind of depends on your luck. And the beauty of it is, I have not had to realm hop at all, because I normally sit in Kelvin whenever I'm doing stuff. And on top of it, you could also get a bunch of other alternative reagents on the way. You could get sandstone here, you could get fulgurite here, which we'll talk about that reagent in a different video probably. Either that, or if I find that it's also Mirage exclusive, I could just, you know, show that too. Actually, matter of fact, hang on, I'm not going to end this video just yet. Let me actually double check my sources to make sure the fulgurite can actually be talked about real fast. Hang on. Alright, so fulgurite is actually worth talking about, so we're actually going to talk about that as well. So yeah, so consider this video the Mirage exclusive reagents video, basically. because when it comes to the Fulgurite, which you can find just as easily, there's a few things you can craft. For one, they are another reagent for the Professor's statue housing pieces. So really the easiest way to get them is to just come to Mirage, just like for the Antiquity. But also, you can also craft the Grandfather Spider rematch and recharges. So if you want to do the rematch for Grandfather Spider, you do need this Fulgurite reagent from Mirage to do it. To be able to craft the rematch and all that stuff. You do need that. But also, funny enough, this reagent can also be transmuted into glass silver. And I still need to go and make sure that I know what glass silver is used for to see if that actually matters or not. But hey, there is a very possible chance that it might actually be game-breaking, for all I know. Or for all I know, it could just be, you know, totally useless, but we'll see. But that's gonna do it for this video. So just remember, for the Mirage exclusives, go to Caravan, which is the main hub, and go to Ruble Wastes, because they're both easy to maneuver. Fun fact, I believe Caravan is the only hub in this game that actually has mobs in it. Because normally when you go to a hub, like a safe hub, the main area of the world, like the Commons for Wizard City or the Oasis for Krakatopia, you get the point. Normally those hubs do not have mobs in them. Normally they might have sigils or solo instance fights where you have to go through a door. But Mirage is the only world in the game where there's actually open world mobs in it. Like, watch. Yeah, so I'm back in the hub here. I teleported to here using, you know, the Commons button. There's all the vendors and stuff. But if I literally go over here, there's not going to be a loading screen. This is still in Caravan. Look. There's mobs. And I am in Caravan. This is the hub. This is the... Huh. Interesting. Fair enough. Anyways, so, when it comes down to it, yeah, there's a fun fact for you. But if you were looking for Sandstone 2, I just found you an alternative spot. But mainly you're here for the Mirage exclusives. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope you found this very helpful. And if you like the vibe here, if you found this helpful, hit the likes, hit the comments, hit that subscribe button. Because we are trying to hit 1,000 subs for the first time in our lives. And until next time, my name is Tier, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good night.